Hello everyone. In this video we are going to learn about the ratio, what is the ratio, how to represent a ratio and what are the properties of the ratio and some problems based on the ratio we will be discussing. See, what is the ratio? A ratio is a comparison of two quantities of same kind. What is the meaning of same kind? Same kind means suppose we have two quantities and we want to find out the volumes of them. Suppose the volume of one is A liters and the volume of the another quantity is B liter. Then we can say that the ratio of these will be A is to B. But suppose we want to say that age of A is 5 years and height of B is 5 feet. Then there is no ratio possible in this. There is no ratio. That is the meaning of the same kind. Generally, we represent a ratio as A is to B. This A is known as the first term of the ratio and B is known as the second term of the ratio. This first term is also known as antecedent and the second term is known as the consequent of the ratio. Now, first thing we want to learn about the ratio, that the units should be same. What does it mean? Suppose we want to find out the ratio between 5 rupees and 40 paisa. This is in rupees, this is in paisa. We have to have the same unit, either both should be in paisa or both should be in rupees. We know how to convert this, we know that 1 rupee is 100 paisa. It means we can write this as 500 paisa and another as 40 paisa. Now they are in the same unit, then we can find out the ratio of them. The ratio is 500 is to 40. In case you want to simplify, we can divide both the terms by a same number or we can also multiply the terms of the ratio by the same number. Then if we divide both by 20, we are getting here 25 is to 2. This is the ratio. And this is known as the simplest form of the ratio. So generally, we represent a ratio in simplest form. Next thing we have to learn that a ratio A is to B can be represented as A oblique B or it can be represented as A upon B. It means we can also write a ratio in the form of fraction. Now in case we have been given any two or more ratios and we want to compare the ratios. Comparison of ratios means which is the greater ratio, which is the smaller ratio. How to do that? Suppose we have one of the ratio as 4 is to 5 and another ratio has been given as 2 is to 3. We want to compare which is greater than. What we will do? We will write them in the form of fraction, that will make it easy, and then we will take the LCM of both the denominators. It means we will make the denominators equal, or we can say we will make the consequents equal. To make them equal, we know that the LCM of that is 15, and in case we want to make it 15, we have to multiply it by 3. As we have already discussed, that we can multiply the terms of a ratio by the same number, or we can also divide both the terms of the ratio. It makes no difference to the ratio. Here we find 2 and 3, so we multiply this by 5 and this also by 5 to make them equal. are we finding this is 12 upon 15 and this is 10 upon 15? Now we can compare the numerators or the antecedents. We find that this is greater. So we can say that 4:5 is greater than 2:3. Like this we can compare any number of ratios, maybe more than 2 also sometimes. Now what are continued ratios? Continued ratio means we have 3 or more quantities to compare. Suppose we are comparing the weights of 3 persons. Weights of 3 persons A, B and C. And the weights of them are in the kilogram, that is A kilogram, B kilogram and C kilogram. Then the ratio of the weights can be written as A is to B is to C. We may have more quantities also. If we find the ratio of more quantities than 2, then we say this is the continued ratio. Now we'll learn about some of the properties of the ratios. We have already learned 2 properties, like we can divide the terms of a ratio by the same number, or we can also multiply the terms of the same ratio by the same number. It makes no difference to the ratio. Second is we have inverse ratio. What is the meaning of inverse ratio? If we are given a ratio A is to B, then the inverse ratio of this will be B is to A. Why it is? We can represent A is to B as A upon B and B is to A as B upon A. If we multiply them, A upon B into B upon A, B cancels B, A cancels A, this comes as 1. And we know if we multiply the inverse of a number to itself, then it gives 1. So here also A upon B and B upon A are multiplied, then the result is 1. So we can say they are the inverse ratio of each other. It means the inverse of a ratio A is to B is B is to A. It means antecedent and the consequent are just interchanged. Then the next is compound ratio. What is the meaning of compound ratio? If we have a ratio A is to B and the other ratio is C is to D, third ratio is suppose E is to F, then the compound ratio of them will be, if we multiply their antecedents and the consequents, whatever the ratio we get, that is only known as the compound ratio. It means it is A into C into E is to B into D into F. To understand it easily, we can also say that the compound ratio is A upon B into C upon D into E upon F. And that gives us A into C into E upon B into D into F. That is same as the ratio. So this way we can find out the continued ratio by multiplying their antecedents and the consequents. What is duplicate ratio? Duplicate ratio, actually, if we have a ratio A is to B and compound it to itself, so we can say ratio compounded to itself. It means compound ratio is A is to B into A is to B or not. That gives us A square is to B square. It means the compound ratio of A is to D is A square is to B square. We square the antecedent and the consequence of that. Now for example, suppose we want to find out the duplicate ratio of 2 is to 3. That will be 2 square is to 3 square, or we can say 4 is to 9. Now what is subduplicate ratio? If A is to B is a ratio, then subduplicate ratio of it is root root of A is to root of B. Like duplicate was squares of both, antecedent and consequent. Here it is square root of both. For example, suppose we have 4 is to 9 and we want to find out the subduplicate ratio. That will be equal to root of 4 is to root of 9, that is 2 is to 3. Next is triplicate ratio. Triplicate ratio means for the ratio A is to B, the triplicate ratio of A is to B is A cube is to B cube, means we make the cube of both the terms. It means the triplicate ratio of 2 is to 3, that will be equal to 2 cube is to 3 cube, or we say it is 8 is to 27. Now the subtriplicate ratio, just opposite to this. Subtriplicate ratio of A is to B is cube root of A is to cube root of B. Like we had subduplicate is square root, same way subtriplicate is cube root. For example, suppose we have 125 is to 64 and we want to find out the subtriplicate ratio of 125 is to 64 will be cube root of 125 is to cube root of 64. We know the cube root of 125 is 5 and that of 64 is 4. So the subtriplicate ratio is 5 is to 4. Now we discuss some of the problems based on ratio. And the first problem here is find the ratio compounded of 4 is to 9, the duplicate of 3 is to 4, the triplicate of 2 is to 3 and 9 is to 7. For the solution, what we do, we write all the ratios first. The first ratio here which has been given to us is 4 is to 9. Second ratio is given 3 is to 4 and we have to find out the duplicate of this. So duplicate of 3 is to 4, that we know is 3 square is to 4 square, or we can say 9 is to 16. Then the triplicate of 2 is to 3, triplicate of 2 is to 3, that will be 2 cube is to 3 cube. We have already learned. So that comes as 8 is to 27. And the last ratio we are given is 9 is to 7. And we have to find the compounded ratio of all. And therefore we write the compound ratio will be, first is 4 is to 9 into 9 is to 16 into 8 is to 27 into 9 is to 7. So making it easy, we can write it as 4 upon 9 into 9 upon 16 into 8 upon 27 into 9 upon 7. Then cancellation. This 9 cancels this 9. This 9 cancels this 27 3 times. 8 cancels this twice. 2 cancels this twice. And now we are left with 2 upon 3 into 7, that is 21. It means the ratio is 2 is to 21. This is the answer to this particular problem. The next problem we discuss here is the ratio of two numbers is 7 is to 10 and their difference is 105. Find the numbers. What we do to find the solution, we have been given the ratio of the numbers is as 7 is to 10. And we know that the terms of a ratio can be multiplied by any common number. So we multiply them by x to find the numbers. So we write, let the numbers be 7x and 10x. the difference of them. We know 10x is more than the 7x. It means we can write according to problem 10x minus 7x is given as 105. We have to simplify this and find the answer. So this gives us 3x is equal to 105. So we are getting x is equal to 105 upon 3, that is 35. Now we can multiply this 35 to both 7x and 10x to get the numbers. Therefore, the numbers are 7 into 35 and 10 into 35. We know this multiplied gives us 245 and this gives us 350. So the numbers are 245 and 350. The next problem is, if x is to y is equal to 3 is to 4, then find the value of x square y plus xy square divided by x cube plus y cube. To find the solution of this, what we do, we can consider the values of x and y some multiples of 3 and 4. So we can write, let x is equal to 3k and y equal to 4k. And then we can substitute these values to find out the value of this particular expression. So we write, therefore, x square y plus xy square divided by x cube plus y cube is equal to x, that is 3k square, into y, that is 4k, plus x 3k into y square means 4k square, divided by x cube, that is 3k cube, plus y cube means 4k cube. And we simplify. This gives us 9k square into 4k. Is it 36k cube? Plus 3 into square of 4 is 16. So is it 16? 3 is 48k cube, divided by cube of 3k, that is 27k cube, and cube of 4k, that is 64k cube. Simplify this. 36 plus 48 is 84k cube, divided by 27 plus 64 is 91k cube. This k cube and k cube cancel. This is coming as 84 upon 91. Now we have to write the simplified form. They are divisible by 7. So this is 12, 7 is 84 and this is 13, 7 is 91. So this comes as 12 upon 13, which is the answer to the problem. But in case we want to apply the shortcut to it, the question is given in the MCQ suppose. Then we have to see whether the degree of the numerator and denominator here are same. And if they are same, we can directly put the values of x and y as 3 and 4 only. We can write, putting x is equal to 3 and y is equal to 4. And then we get x square y plus xy square upon x cube plus y cube. It is coming as 3 square into 4 plus 3 into 4 square upon 3 cube plus 4 cube. And we get here 36 plus 48 divided by 27 plus 64, which is equal to 84 upon 91, and simplifying we are getting 12 upon 13. Like this we can apply the shortcuts in MCQs, but as per the descriptive method we have to apply this particular method only. So we learnt what are the ratios, what are the properties of the ratios, and also some problems on the ratios have been discussed in this particular video. In the next video we are going to discuss about proportion. Thanks for watching my video. If you have any comments or doubts, leave them in the comment box and I will get back to you.